I had something that I was going to talk about today, but I completely forget what it was. And now I'm going to have to talk about nothing because I don't remember. Hopefully, by the time this podcast reaches its end, or sometime before this podcast reaches its end, I will be able to remember what it was that I wanted to talk about because it was something that was interesting to me and important and relevant to the making of these podcasts, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. What I can say is that it's really cold right now. Outside, it's snowing, and inside this room, this house that we live in currently, me, my parents, my family, it has the worst heating that I've ever seen in a house. It doesn't heat rooms at all. The only way you can actually get a room heated the only way we can heat the house up is by leaving the gas fire, the fireplace, you turn on the switch, it turns on the gas, and then it goes. That's the only actual way to heat the house. Like, there's no furnace. Or if there is a furnace, it's completely wrecked. So, and my room happens to be pretty far away from that fireplace, so I have to use this custom radiating heater to, stay warm. And the radiating heater, you used to be able to switch it to like low heat and high heat, but now it's broken. So whenever I turn it on, whenever I plug it in, I cannot believe I just said nay. Why did I say nay? But whenever I plug it in, it automatically goes to the highest heat setting. So I eventually have to unplug it because the room gets too hot. It's so frustrating. So many first world problems I'm dealing with. I don't like it. Man, but what did I want to talk about? Man, I wanted to talk about something about making content and about... I guess I could talk about that. I listened to... A while ago, I made a 3-hour video where I just talked over a long play. Instead of doing a Let's Play and actually playing the video game and talking at the same time, I just found someone who played an entire game and then watched that playthrough while making commentary. And then I spliced the commentary and that video together and released it as like a 3-hour long session of me talking. And I re-listened to that because listening to these podcasts has made me feel uncomfortable about myself. And I don't know. I sometimes like listening to my own stuff to reaffirm that I have some semblance of a capability of making these kinds of things. I have to keep on reinstating that in my mind for some reason. Anyways, I was listening to this, and then I heard myself say that the way that I behave as a person is I'm kind of like a sheep. Meaning, I will listen to someone's opinion and I will try to adapt that opinion as my own. Instead of having my actual own opinion, I will listen to someone express it, as long as they can express it or they actually feel it very strongly, I will listen to them and try to side with them or try to justify their own opinion in my own head. And this is great. I mean, I don't know. This leads to me not having any actual opinions of my own. And that's what I talked about during that 3-hour long commentary, along with a lot of other stuff. And so I think that I need to, stop doing that. I need to stop just adapting. I need to stop taking the opinions of other people, and I need to start forming my own. Because I think because when you have your own opinion about something and about how you don't like something, you'll be able to defend it and explain it a lot better than if you're listening to other people's opinions. So, yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to reevaluate my entire self and feel like a real person. This is the Feel Like a Real Person podcast, where I try to find the best way to feel like a real person. This heater is now burning me. I pointed the heater toward me, which was a mistake, and it was starting to make me sweat. Now I've pointed the heater away from me, so it's going in a different direction, but it will still heat up the room. The room is still pretty cold. I'd say it's around 50 degrees or something in here. And hopefully, well, I don't know. There's no hopefully. The heater will eventually heat it up, and then I'll have to unplug the heater because I'll be sweating from the heat, from the accumulated heat in the room. And then I'll have to plug it in again once it gets too cold. It's just a vicious cycle of unplugging and plugging in. And I don't want to fix it. That would be too much work. And I don't want to buy a new heater. That would be too much money. So I'm stuck just dealing with it, which I'm actually fine with. The only reason I'm talking about it even right now is because I have to talk about something during these podcasts. I don't actually care that much. I don't care that much about a lot of things. I'm forcing myself to say these things almost. Not completely, but somewhat. What else did I do today? I just went to work. And then, I don't know. Not much. Oh, actually, I did do something today, something significant. I let the world know, by the world I mean, I posted the first episode of this podcast to Facebook and to YouTube. And to, my family has a Facebook group where we can post each other, like, projects that we're working on to each other and get each other's feedback on it. So I posted it there. And I posted it to Facebook also. So now the whole world knows about it. And I feel uncomfortable about it because I know that people have seen it, because you can tell if someone has watched something or has looked at something on Facebook, but I have not gotten a single response from it. There's no likes, there's no comments, there's no nothing. So, like, it makes me nervous. Are these podcasts horrible? Am I doing a horrible job? I mean, I always kind of like, when I think of my own content, I think I have this bias where I think it's all great. It's great. It's wonderful. It's the best content in the world. And it's only through seeing how the world reacts to that content that I can find out the real truth about it, which is what I've been afraid to do and why I don't share my stuff that I make with people. But, yeah, I don't know if the lack of response to the post that I made, I mean, I guess it is a kind of, the way that I made the podcast is I spliced these audio chunks, these 10-minute audio chunks, spliced them all together into like 7 parts at a time, into like an hour and 20-minute long podcast, uploaded that. So maybe just, it could be the reason that, like, there's no comments or likes or whatever. It could be that an hour-long podcast is just a daunting amount of time. But my brain comes up with different reasons. My brain comes up with the reasons, well, I'm just not that interesting a person, or the things that I'm saying are just so cringy and hard to listen to, and make people feel awkward that, that no one wants to listen to it. And they don't want to say that it's bad. Why would you ever want to tell someone that something is bad? Why would you ever want to do that? It makes them feel bad. It makes you feel bad because you made them feel bad. So I don't know. I don't really care too much, though. I was afraid that the lack of feedback from that thing might demotivate me from making content, but so far it hasn't. I can still make these things. I can still make these these 10-minute episodes, these 10-minute splices of the actual hour and 20-minute episode of the Kokino Podcast. But the Kokino Podcast has been officially released into the world. This is a day of celebration. It was actually yesterday that I released it. It wasn't today. But yesterday, who cares? It's a day to celebrate and a day to be wary and a day to, I don't know, see if I'm really wondering if I'm going to be able to make this podcast once a week. I'm wondering if if it's going to find any audience. I don't know. I mean, really, this is just an endurance test to me. I am trying to get better at making content consistently. And I guess, I wrote about this in my journal, but I'll say it here too. I am trying to keep the fire of creativity and the fire of, just making things lit. Keep it lit. Not necessarily to make it big, but to keep it lit. In case some kind of inspiration hits me. Like, I think of inspiration as like a gasoline or some kind of really flammable thing. You throw it onto the fire and then it bursts. And the fire grows bigger. So I'm just trying to keep the fire so it's still alive. And that's why I'm making these things. And this has been I've reached the 10-minute marker. It's been 10 minutes and 9 seconds, so I'll see you guys next time. Yeah.